Hi class, this is Chris. I just wanted to give you some quick instructions on how to do the group portion of this class. There's a group essay that you're going to do, and there's a survey that's attached to it. You need to do the survey before you do the essay. And I just wanted to give you some quick information on how to do it, so you will be able to do it quickly. So attached to this module, you'll notice that there is it's called a group communication style inventory. It looks something like this. Okay, it's a PDF file, so just go ahead and download it, print it out, and then go ahead and complete it. When you look at the survey, you're going to see that they group statements together in pairs. You're going to pick the statement that best describes you. Now, it may not totally describe you 100%, but the one that's most like you, go ahead and pick that one. Try not to overthink it too much. Just try to go through it quickly, and I think it will be it will work out better that way. So on the pair, you can see I did my own, and on the first question it says like I like action, and it says what's it say? I deal with problems in a systematic way. So the one that best describes me, I mean, I do like action, but the one that speaks to me more is the fact that I like to solve problems in a systematic way. So I went ahead and I circled that number. Okay, does that make sense? And then you have another group of questions right here, or statements. Circle the number of the statement that best describes you. You're going to do that for the entire page. And you can see they're numbered, and that's going to be really important. Then you have a second page here of the same thing. Not as long, but you still have some more statements, okay? And just go ahead and complete the second page. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. You got to pay attention. On the third page, they list all the numbers that you circled, okay? All the numbers that were on the survey. If you notice, you didn't circle all the numbers that were on the surveys. You only picked one of each two. So each pair, you picked one. So in questions 1 and 2, you either picked 1 or you picked 2. In questions 3 and 4, either you pick 3 or you pick 4. So they make 80 statements in this whole survey. You've only picked 40. You've only circled 40 statements because you're picking the one from the pair that describes you the best, if that makes sense. So what you're going to do is they have all 80 numbers represented here. You're going to circle the numbers that you circled in the survey. For example, I circled 2. I never circled 1. I picked 2. So I circled 2. Then on questions 3 and 4, I circled 4. I did not circle 3. So I put 4. So you're going to go through your surveys, look at the ones that you circled, and circle that one. So out of all the numbers that are listed, half of them should be circled. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to tally them up on each line. So you can see on this line, on the action line, I only circled 7 of them. On the process line, I circled 11. On the people line, I circled 15. And on the ideal line, I circled 7. Okay, so that's how I answer the survey. It should total up to 40. No matter how you answer the questions, you should have 40 total, okay? So let's see, I have 7, 11, 15, and 7. That adds up to 40, okay? And then you can kind of see where your communication style lies. And then what you're going to do is once you've tallied them up, okay, they have some characteristics here of what your communication style is like. So for people who are process orientated, okay, it says that people are process orientated. They like facts. They're systematic. They're logical. They're unemotional. They're cautious. They're patient. All right, but people who like action, like if you're more of an action person, you like responsibility. You're objective. You like getting results. You like challenging other people. So everybody has different characteristics. This is just kind of to show you what your communication tendency is. All right. And then once you've kind of done that and you've looked over where you kind of lie, like I scored heavy in people. So I have certain characteristics right here. Okay. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're not. Okay. So what you're going to do is after you tally them up, go over to the 4th page and you can actually plot a chart based on your results. So if you look at me, I think I scored an 11 on action, or I'm sorry, 7 on action, and I scored a 11 on process. I scored a 15 on people, and I scored a 7 on ideas. So you can see based on that, my communication style, how I communicate, is really focused on process. And I think that's coming from me being a teacher. I'm really process oriented. And then also, I'm very people oriented. I'm not much of an idea, just talking about ideas all day. That's pretty consistent with me. And I'm not a person who will want to get the job done over, like hurting people's feelings. I'm a little bit more sensitive, and I'm a little bit more process orientated. So I think that's pretty consistent for me. I like to know how your graph stacks up for you. I think it's very helpful to do this and look at it. And then once you go to page 5, what it does is it tells you like, hey, you might be a process person. All right, but you might have a tough time dealing with people, and you'd be like, man, this guy that I work with, he's always in my face. He's always challenging me. He's kind of doesn't really pay attention to my feelings. He's always about, did you or did you not get this done? Gosh, I think this guy's an action person. And this kind of helps you kind of bring some understanding to how people communicate based on what kind of style they have. And not only that, it gives you like strategies. So if you're communicating with an action process person, you should do these. Or if you're communicating with a process person, you should behave like this. So read through that, because I think this assignment is going to be really helpful for number one, learning some of the attributes that are likened to your communication style. Second thing that's helpful is to look at other people and say, hey, they have a different communication style. What are some of the things that I need to do? What are some of the skills and competencies that I need to bring out in order to more effectively communicate and relate to that person? So I think this assignment is going to be really good in this regard. So here's what I want you to do. After you've done the survey, okay, go ahead and answer the questions. I gave you some essay questions. Now this is an essay. It's not a it's not a discussion post. So try to stay away from no bullets. You're going to write it like a regular essay. 500 words, and you're going to type it up on a Microsoft Word document, and you're going to upload it in Canvas. So it's not due this week. Let me say it again. It's not due this week. It's going to be due next week, okay? So I don't like to give people just 1 week to write an essay. I think that's a lot. I think this week I want you to focus on doing your exam, and then secondly, getting your survey done and reflecting on it, okay? Those are the main things I really want you to do this week. And then next week, I want you to start answering some of the questions and do it in an essay format. So read through the questions. And then also the last thing I want you to do is pick a group. Think about it. It could be work, church, friends, whatever. Pick a group that you belong to, and I'm answering the questions that I'm answering. I'm asking in the essay portion, and then look at your survey. And I ask you some questions about your survey. And then lastly, I asked you about, or not lastly, but number 4, I asked you about a maintenance role. So you're going to have to read your textbook in order to really understand that portion. But go ahead and read the question, then read your textbook. I tell you exactly where to read in the textbook as well, so that you can properly answer that question. Then question number 5, what I want you to do is, when you look at a group, like I said, could be friends, church, school, work, whatever. Look at that group and pick somebody in that group that communicates differently than you do. So it could be your coworker or your boss, and look at what communication style they have. And then once you review your survey, look at like for example, your boss. You can say my boss is really an action-orientated person, and it's kind of different. I want you to read the suggestions on the last page and think about it, and then respond with how you can employ the suggestions that are here to more effectively communicate to the person in your group that communicates differently than you do. So it's pretty easy assignment. Make sure you read the instructions. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, this is not a discussion post. You're going to type it up on a Word document and you're going to upload it. It's not due in this week's module. It's due the next week. So don't sweat it too hard, but at least get the survey done this week. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, have a great week. All right. Bye, guys.